Nath Mahanti, our guest and the speaker this evening, Sri Gidwani ji, the in charge of Hyderabad, Satsang Bihar, mothers and brothers in faith, admirers of Satsang, lovers of existence, small children. What an electrifying moment is this. As we begin this convention on this very pertinent topic, which is golden key to lead a meaningful, balanced, happy and progressive life, I can see the intellectuals of the city converging here on this CCRT Convention Center. Intellectuals of the city, professionals who represent the industry, and all of you have come in a sizable number to participate in this convention today. It's a great privilege on my part to be in the midst of all of you to engage in a dialogue on this very relevant topic. And as we talk about progressive, balanced, happy and meaningful life, my dear mothers and brothers, we need to stay back for a moment and look around all around and then see what's happening today all around us. We are probably living through the most exciting times in the history. The evolution of technology, the progress and advancement of science has reached the pinnacle. It has reached the zenith of success. We get everything at our fingertips today. We virtually have everything in our control. The small mobile phone, with this we can rule this universe today. Today we have products and services of the highest quality, the superior possible quality. We have everything delivered to us at the fastest possible speed. Productivity, efficiency is of the highest order today. We have exciting times. Science and technology have made impossible possible. My dear ladies and gentlemen, brothers and mothers, what else technology is doing to us today? The advancement of science, progress of technology, progress of innovation and creativity. What else is this doing to our lives today? While it is transforming our lives, it's also disrupting our lives. As we look around, we see millions of cases of people dying of anxiety and stress and distress. There is a sense of helplessness and hopelessness all around. People are achieving pinnacle of success, but they have become absolutely unsuccessful in their personal, familial and social life. Absolute imbalance in the way they're leading their lives. Extremely successful as a business leader, but the man does not get the respect of his wife and children at home. This has brought great deal of anxiety and stress, distress, helplessness and hopelessness. In other words, our lives have been disrupted. There is a sense of inadequacy. There's a sense of emptiness all around us. While we are leading a successful life, we don't know what's going to happen next. I read about a story in the newspaper where they were talking about a factory in China where the factory employed 6,000 people a few years ago. Today had just 600 people, and the remaining 5,400 people have lost their jobs to automation, to robotics. While we are creating products of the most superior quality, we are also creating social challenges and unrest. So, ladies and gentlemen, while we are living through the most exciting times, we are also passing through the most challenging times in history. How do you really get out of this? Thousands of people are dying of psychosomatic diseases, hypertension, cholesterol, heart attack, diabetes. Psychosomatic diseases have become commonplace. How do you really get out of this? How do you really lead a life which has balance, which has progress, which has meaning, and which has happiness? How do we really get to live a life like that? Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra has given the golden key to this question. There was a famous American who came to India and then got to hear about Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. And he came to the ashram. He was the vice president of the Harper and Brothers Publishing House in America, a very famous business house. He came and met Sri Sri Thakur and then said, Thakur, I am an extremely busy businessman. I have very little time. Can you really tell me your ideology in just 2 words? In just 2 words. I do not have time to listen to your discourses for a long time. Just in 2 words, can you explain your ideology? Sri Sri Thakur, in a very simple manner, smiled for a moment and then said, be concentric. Be concentric. He asked Mr. Harper, he said, Mr. Harper, can you be concentric without a center? He said, no. Mr. Harper replied, no, it's impossible to be concentric without a center. But who should be my center? Sri Sri Thakur said, be concentric around the living ideal. Mr. X-Man asked Sri Sri Thakur, oh, be concentric around the living ideal. So what happens if Henry Ford is my ideal? Sri Sri Thakur replied promptly. He said, if Henry Ford is your ideal, you can probably become another Henry Ford, but you cannot become the Jesus Christ. The higher is your ideal, the more elevated is your life. The higher, the more potential ideal that you have at the center of your life, the more potential, more success you will achieve in your life. So you must have the highest ideal at the center of your life. Dr. Pranakrishna Parija, another scientist who came to Sri Sri Thakur, in the course of the conversation, Sri Sri Thakur asked him, have you ever gone to the market to buy vegetables? Dr. Parija replied, yes, Thakur, this is a very simple thing. In my childhood, I've gone to the market so many times. Sri Sri Thakur asked him, when you used to go to the market in your childhood to buy vegetables, how did you know that the shopkeeper was giving you the right weight? Dr. Parija said, it's very simple, Thakur. The shopkeeper had a balancing scale. He used to put weight on one side and the vegetables on the other side. And there were 2 nails in the balancing scale. There was a small one on top and there was a bigger one below that. And I used to look at the bigger nail aligning with the small nail. And when the nail was aligning with the smaller nail, when there was perfect and complete alignment between the 2, I used to know that the weight is perfect. There is perfect balance between the weight and the vegetables. Sri Sri Thakur looked at Dr. Parija and then said, Parijada, when for a simple task of buying vegetables, when you go to the market, you need to look for that balance. You need to look for that bigger nail and aligning with the smaller one on top. And Dr. Parija, in our life which is filled with stress and ambiguity, our lives are crippled with problems, hardships and difficulties. In a life which is riddled with problems, don't you think that we need to bring balance in our life by aligning to that center that living ideal, don't you think that we need an alignment in our life? A life which is filled with problems and difficulties. In that life, if you have to really bring balance, don't you think we'll have to align? Like that bigger nail aligns with that smaller nail, don't you think that we also have to align to the Supreme Father, the living ideal, who comes in every age as the Mashiach, as the protector, as the savior of the mankind, and who saves the humankind. He comes for protecting all of us. He comes here to teach us the path of being and becoming. He helps us exist and grow. Don't you think we need a personality like that, a living ideal in our life? Dr. Pariza, who was a very famous scientist, who always believed, he used to follow the law of logic, did not have an answer. And he said, yes, Sister Thakur, I understand the importance of having a living ideal at the center of my life. There was a famous devotee of Sister Thakur, Dr. Revati Mohan Biswas, who went to United States of America to do research on the ideology of Sister Thakur. And he went and traveled across universities, educational institutions, and campuses across the United States of America. He was enlightening people across the country by sharing the message of Sister Thakur and the ideology of Sister Thakur. There was a lady who was deeply impressed by his speeches, came up to him one day and then said, Dr. Biswas, I really like everything that you say, but there is one thing I do not agree with. The one thing I do not agree with is, why do I need a living ideal in my life? I like when you talk about Sister Thakur's love, when you talk about his compassion, when you talk about his messages for this world. But why do I need to accept a guru, an ideal at the center of my life? That I do not understand, because I have everything. I have understood everything. I have read the Bible. I have read the scriptures. I probably know how to lead a life. Why do I need to have somebody? But that doesn't matter, Dr. Biswas. I invite you home for dinner. Come home for dinner tomorrow and we will have a chat together. Dr. Biswas went to this lady's house the next day. And the lady had done PhD in cooking sciences. And she, with extreme meticulousness and great care, had prepared the best delicacies for Dr. Biswas. And he served with great pride when Dr. Biswas reached her home. The best food that she possibly could prepare. Dr. Biswas took 1 spoon of the curry and then said, Ma, this curry is tasteless. The lady could not believe that. She could not accept it. She said, this is impossible. I have put in the best possible care. I have brought in the best possible spices and condiments. I have possibly taken great care to prepare the best possible food for you. So this cannot be tasteless. Dr. Biswas said, Ma, taste it yourself. So the lady took 1 spoon of the curry and then put it on her mouth. And then said, Dr. Biswas, I'm extremely sorry. I have made a big mistake. I have prepared I have taken all possible care. But I have missed out on putting salt in the curry. I have forgotten to put salt. That has made this curry tasteless. Dr. Biswas said, Ma, Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra is the salt of my life. Is the salt of my life. You can prepare the best possible curry with the best possible spices, best possible vegetables. But if you forget to put salt in that, that becomes tasteless. Ma, you may have everything in life. You may have money, wealth, affluence, education, name and fame. But you don't have that living ideal at the center of your life. Then your life becomes helpless, hopeless, meaningless. And my life has become extremely meaningful and purposeful and balanced because I have that salt in my life. And that salt in my life is Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. So ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of sharing all these incidents, anecdotes, is to drive home the point that if you want to really lead a balanced life, harmonious life, life which is purposeful and meaningful, we need to have that living ideal at the center who can guide us, who can show us the path by looking at him, by looking at the way he behaves, by looking at the way he leads his life. We can imagine, we can understand, we can conceptualize and visualize how we can lead our lives ourselves. And that's not possible by reading books. That's not possible by reading but scriptures. We cannot imagine Ramayana without Lord Rama. We cannot imagine Mahabharata without Lord Krishna. We cannot imagine our life without that life center, the love center of our life, without whom the life is meaningless, absolutely senseless and purposeless, and has absolutely no relevance whatsoever, in spite of having everything in our life. So what happens when we have a living ideal at the center of our life? When you have a living ideal at the center of our life, that personality becomes our love center. And our life revolves around that personality. All the bad practices that I have, all the bad habits I have, all the pull of complexes that I have goes away, melts away, disappears, because he becomes my love center. It's like the aircraft which has to go up. The jumbo jet in the modern era has 4 engines, and the 4 engines are extremely powerful to pierce through the gravitational pull and take off and go to the skies and fly. So the gravitational pull is stronger than the pull. The power of the engines of the aircraft is stronger than the gravitational pull. So similarly, when we have a pull in our life, every other pull becomes meaningless. Every other passions and complexes and senses become meaningless, because fulfilling him, fulfilling his wishes, serving him becomes the most important primary vision and mission of my life. Everything else becomes meaningless. I had a friend who returned after spending about 20 years in the United Kingdom. The friend came to me and he told me, "Hey, brother, I have been trying to give up smoking for the last 20 years. I have not been able to do that. I went to the rehabilitation center. I went for counseling. I went for coaching. I went to many places. Everybody tried to help me. I did my best. I could not give up smoking. I have concluded that for me, giving up smoking is impossible." I told him, "My dear brother, if you come to satsang, when you see millions of devotees who are attracted by the magical personality of Sister Thakur Anukul Chandra, or our present Reverend Acharya Dev Sri Siddhada, just by the magical personality, just by their darshan, just by their magical touch, millions of people have given up hundreds of bad habits. They have never looked back." There was this famous magician P.C. Sarkar who came to Sister Thakur Anukul Chandra and said, "Sister Thakur, I have gone to many places. I have seen many gurus and sadhus. I have seen them performing many miracles. Sri Thakur, what is your miracle?" Sister Thakur did not answer. He said to some of his devotees, he instructed them to take P.C. Sarkar to Anand Bazaar. Anand Bazaar is a kitchen in the ashram where thousands of people take prasadam every day. Thakur said, "Take Mr. P.C. Sarkar to the Anand Bazaar and make him meet Jaggeshwar Jha at the kitchen." He went to meet with the devotees to and Jaggeshwar Jha was in the Anand Bazaar. He was walking with a bucket of food and he was serving food. P.C. Sarkar went there and the devotees told that Thakur has sent P.C. Sarkar to you. He has a question. P.C. Sarkar, when the devotees introduced P.C. Sarkar, Jaggeshwar Jha stopped by and said, "Please ask me, what do you want to know?" P.C. Sarkar said, "I want to know what is the miracle by Sister Thakur. What miracle he has performed in his life." Jaggeshwar Jha dropped the bucket, raised his 2 hands and said, "P.C. Sarkar, can you see these 2 hands? There are no crime in this world. There is no sin in this world. There is no misdeed in this world that these two hands have not performed. But these two hands today, these two hands have killed hundreds of people. But these two hands today are serving food to people. It is giving service to people. Can there be a better miracle, PC Sarkar? Is there a better miracle possible than a criminal who has been completely transformed from a killer to a man who is serving people? That's the relevance of having an ideal at the center of our life. An ideal brings purification in our life. Ideal brings transformation in our life. Ideal brings efficiency in our life, effectiveness in our life. Our life becomes agile. We become competent. We become smart. We become bold. And we get ready to take on all the challenges that the world is posing before us. That's the beauty of having an ideal at the center of our life. And when we accept Him, all our passions and complexes go away. They disappear. And then we gain control over life. And mothers and brothers, when we control our life, we start enjoying our life. If you go to office, but if you don't control your office, then you can't enjoy your office. If you go to your work every day, but if you don't control your work, you can't enjoy your work. If you don't control your family, you cannot enjoy your family. So to be able to enjoy life, we have to be in control. There is a devotee of Sri Thakur on a winter morning. Both of them, Thakur and the devotee, were walking on the field. And this devotee was looking at Sri Thakur and Kulchandra and asked with a lot of expectation in his mind, Sri Thakur, this life is so small. In this life, can we really express and materialize the wishes of the Supreme Lord? Is it possible? Our life is filled with mistakes, gaps, limitations. In the short life, can we really enjoy the bliss of the Supreme Lord? Sri Thakur looked around and he asked the devotee to look at the grass. On one grass leaf, there was the droplet of the dew which was on the grass. And Sri Thakur asked this devotee, said, what do you see in that? The devotee said that the grass is shining because the dew, the droplet of water on the grass, because of the winter morning, is reflecting the ray of the sun and it's shining. Sri Thakur asked, what is the life of this grass? The devotee replied, maybe a few hours, or maybe a few days, maybe a day or two, not more than that. Sri Thakur said that small leaf, grass leaf, if it can reflect the supreme mighty sun's ray, why can't you reflect the mercy and the bliss of the Supreme Lord in your short life? The grass has been able to do that. The droplet of water on the grass has been able to do that because it's clean and pure. It has surrendered with its purity and cleanness, absolute transparency. Be transparent, be clean, be pure, surrender to the living ideal. You can reflect Him in your life no matter how small your life is, no matter how short your life is. If a small grass can reflect the supreme mighty sun, you can do that in your life. That is not impossible. So when you become transparent, when you become pure, when we become clean, we become compact. Because there is no dilution in our life. All of us, you are the students of science, you know the difference between concentrated acid and diluted acid. Diluted acid is not pure. Concentrated acid is pure. It is compact. When the life becomes pure and transparent, it becomes compact. When it becomes compact, it has control. When it has control, it starts enjoying. So when we have control in our life, we start enjoying our life. and we have control over all aspects of our life. The individual life, the married life, the familial life, the social life, and the national life. And that's where comes the balance. We talked about golden key to a balanced, progressive and happy life. And that's where comes the balance. The balance comes in all the 5 aspects of life: individual, married, familial, social and national. When we bring in harmony in all the 5, then comes the balance. If I go to the gymnasium, if I go to the gym and start exercising only one hand on one arm, a few days later I'll find that my hand has bulged on one side. The muscles have become stronger, but the other hand remains as weak as before. We don't want that kind of growth. All of us want balanced growth. When the entire body grows and becomes stronger in its entirety, similarly, if one aspect of our life is stronger, there is no balance. All the 5 aspects of our life, individual, married, familial, social and national, where you are extremely happy yourself, having leading a very ideal centric married life, taking care of the responsibilities of family, having the respect of a family, discharging your responsibility to the society and the nation. When you are doing all 5 of this, then there is balance in your life. A devotee came to Thakur and asked, Sister Thakur, I am going all over the place. I am going everywhere in search of happiness and peace. I am not finding it. I am not finding it anywhere, Thakur. Sister Thakur looked at him and then said, finding happiness is so simple and so easy. He said, Thakur, is that really so easy? I have tried everything possible. I am not finding. I don't have happiness in my life. Sister Thakur said, it's very simple. Make others happy. You will become happy yourself. Give peace to others. You will find peace in abundance and plenty. Just do that. Try it out. Because when you look at yourself, your existence has no meaning without others. The moment we say the moment we say light, it presupposes the existence of darkness. The moment we say day, it presupposes the existence of night. The moment we say I, it presupposes the existence of others. The louder I say I, the louder it presupposes the existence of others. So I has no meaning without others. But when it comes to others, we all run away. We all run away. We believe that we need to take care of ourselves. Where is the time and effort and resources to take care of others? There were some devotees of Sister Thakur who used to go to many villages in West Bengal. When Sister Thakur was in flesh and blood, they used to take permission from Sister Thakur and they used to go all over the state to preach the philosophy of being and becoming propagated by Sister Thakur, professed by Sister Thakur. On one such occasions, a team of Guru brothers came to Sister Thakur and then said, Thakur, we want to go to different villages of West Bengal to propagate and preach about your love, your message of love and compassion, your message of brotherhood and universal brotherhood. Sister Thakur said, please go, but take Birju with you. Birju was a village singer who had just arrived in the ashram 2 days back. This group of so-called educated, intellectual devotees of Sister Thakur took a cursory look at Birju and then said, this village man, we will take him along with us. He dressed looks shabby, he looks ugly, he seems to be uneducated. Can we really take him with us? But Sister Thakur wanted him to join our group, so we don't have an option. So they agreed to take Birju with them. They went on the mission. They went to different villages. A few days later, they discovered that Birju is not just a village man, not just a shabby village guy, he is also a petty thief. Because they found him stealing small things from the bags and of different people in that group. They said, out you go. You cannot be in our party, in our group anymore, because we have found that you are also a thief. They threw him out of the group. Then they went to different places, went all around, went on preaching the ideology of Sister Thakur, their spiritual master. After about 4 or 5 weeks, they came back to the ashram. They were eager to meet Sister Thakur and proudly explain to Sister Thakur about the mission, how they went and met hundreds and thousands of people, talked about Sister Thakur's mission of love and universal brotherhood. Sister Thakur was least interested in listening to them. But on insistence, finally one day, Sister Thakur agreed to listen to what they were saying. But when they started talking about their mission, Sister Thakur looked around and asked, "Where is Birju? Where is Birju?" Some of them with hesitation replied, "Thakur, we asked him to go. We ousted him of the group. We threw him out of the group." Sister Thakur said, "Why?" With great pain and with great discomfort, great sadness, Sister Thakur said, "Why? I wanted you to take him with you, but why did you throw him out?" One of the devotees said, "Thakur, Birju was found to be a thief. He was stealing stuff from different people's bags and baggages. We could not take him with us." Sister Thakur said, "You go around all over the place. You go and talk about brotherhood, universal brotherhood. You could not adjust a young man with you. You could not take him along with you. What brotherhood you were talking about? What universal love and compassion that you were talking about? You could not have a single man with you. You threw him out." One of the young devotees, who was little arrogant, replied to Thakur, he said, "Thakur, but survival of the fittest. That guy could not survive with us. He was not fit enough to survive with us." Sister Thakur looked extremely sad and sorrowful. He looked dejected. He looked at them and said, "Survival of the fittest? I do not believe in that. First make the unfit fit, then only you will survive. Make the unfit fit, then only you will survive. Make the incompetent competent, then only you will survive. Make the inefficient efficient, then will you survive. Make the ineffective effective, then only you will survive. If you do not do that, I do not know whether you will survive or not." So ladies and gentlemen, in this world, when we talk about the mad race of life, when you want to race ahead of everybody else and then move ahead at the cost of the happiness of everybody else, Sister Thakur Anukul Chandra came and then said, the only way you can practice dharma is when you practice with your environment. When you take your environment along with you, and it is the urge for existence and also the urge to fulfill and the nurture of existence of everybody else around you, that practice, that urge is dharma. Dharma is nothing else. So that was Sister Thakur. So, my dear mothers and brothers, if you really want to have a balanced and meaningful life, a life which is fulfilled with happiness, then we need to have that love center in our life. A love center who can transform our life, who can show us the path. And we need to surrender to him, follow him, and then move across on his path so that our life can become meaningful and successful. When Shyar Das, the president of Indian National Congress, came to Sister Thakur when the freedom movement was going on, and after spending a few days in the ashram, he said, "Thakur, now I have to go back because the freedom movement is going on." Sister Thakur said, "Dasda, can you not stay back for a few more days?" Mr. Das replied to Thakur and then said, "Thakur, I want to be with you for some more days, but the freedom movement is going on. I don't have a single person on whom I can rely, on whom I can trust the responsibility of this freedom movement. I have to go back." Sister Thakur said, "Dasda, what is the point in bringing the freedom where you do not have a single person who cannot shoulder the responsibility of this freedom? The freedom which is going to come tomorrow, who is going to carry the responsibility?" Dr. Das said, "I don't know. Tell me the way. Tell me the path." Sister Thakur said, "The humankind has become rotten. It has gone to the dogs. You will have to elevate them. You will have to bring them up. And for you to do that, you need to have a saintly personality in your life. The way Hanuman had Lord Ram. The way Arjuna had Krishna. The way Vivekananda had Swami Ramakrishna Paramahans. You need to have a godly personality, a saintly personality, a rishi behind you, a living ideal who can, with utmost attachment to him and service to him, can bring about transformation in your life, and you can transform many others. Do that first. Create good human beings, then only you will be able to bring about a great nation where people can live happily forever. So that was the mission of Sister Thakur, the mission of man making, and the mission of bringing elevation and salvation to people, where people would find the true meaning of their life. So if we keep talking about the ideology of Sister Thakur, we will, nights will go away, days will go away, weeks and months will go away. We'll not be able to complete, will not be able to touch upon a small part of his life. But when we have a living ideal at the center, and by taking his initiation, when we get the Satnam, the holy name, and when we chant that holy name, all of you are the students of science, you are professionals in the information technology industry, and in the industry where knowledge is extremely important. I am going to talk about the power of meditation, which comes to us in the form of the holy name, when we accept the living ideal at the center of our life, take his initiation, and in the process of the initiation, when we get that holy name, and that holy name is the mantra which actually elevates the mind. And when we chant that holy name, our motor senses and our sensory nerves and motor nerves get complete balance between the two. So then we are able to deal with the stress of life. Then we are able to handle the stressful moments of life, because our motor nerves and the sensory nerves are in complete harmony. And our ability to perceive things becomes stronger. An ability to observe things becomes stronger. Complex problems of mathematics and physics and social, personal problems, professional problems, which we could not solve for many days, we find solutions to those problems in no time. Because that happens when you chant the holy name. Holy name activates the brain cells, and the brain cells become more perceptive, and they become more, their ability to observe and perceive things becomes stronger, and with that we can make impossible possible. We can do wonders. This is absolute science, because the holy name is the causative factor. The whole scientists believe that the whole universe was created out of a big explosion called the Big Bang Theory, and that explosion was nothing but a big vibration. And when we chant that holy name, there is a vibration that in our brain, and our brain cells become active. It creates light waves and heat waves, and it creates a lot of vibration. The vibration takes us back to the root cause of this universe, the Big Bang, the big explosion. So the holy name is a causative factor. That's what Sister Thakur said. The sound must reach out to me, because I am the sound. There is no difference between the Supreme Father himself and the holy name. Is the same and the one. So my dear mothers and brothers, my dear friends, my dear lovers of existence, admirers of satsang, I would call upon all of you to come and have this realization of having a love center in your life, having an ideal centric life which can bring about transformation not only in your lives, in your families, in your neighborhood, in your society all around you, and then you can lead a blissful life. I call upon all of you to come and have this love center in your life today, and see what kind of difference it can make in your lives. And those of us who already have this love center, those of us who are already following this path, I would call upon you to continuously move with greater vigor and rigor in the same path, by dedicating ourselves to the cause of the Supreme Father, become blessed and make everybody else blessed. Vande Purushottamam. Jai Guru.